The government keeps many things from us and have so many secrets they don't let the world know. These are the top 5 scary pictures that the government tried to hide from you, part 2. Coming in at number 5, we have the Anguished Man. One of the scariest photos is actually a painting known as the Anguished Man. It is unknown who actually created this, but this oil painting was painted in the artist's own blood. And shortly after completing this piece, the artist took his own life. It is known to be one of the most haunted paintings in the world. It is currently owned by a man named Sean Robinson from Cumbria, England. He had received this painting from his grandmother, who warned him that the painting was in fact cursed. Even though he knew the story behind the painting, he was fascinated by it and kept it in his basement because his wife was not a fan of this art. In 2010, Sean had a flood in his basement, so he took the painting out and hung it in one of the bedrooms in his home. Shortly after hanging the photo up, him and his family began experiencing strange activities around the house, such as seeing a shadowy figure of a man and hearing sounds of whispering and crying. Things soon escalated when during the late hours of the night, Sean would wake up to see a dark, faceless figure standing in his bedroom, and his wife discovered a stranger lying on the bed next to her, leaving them traumatized. In 2011, Sean actually filmed a video and uploaded it on YouTube titled Ghost Activity Caught on Tape, and it gained over 1 million views. The video was recorded in the bedroom where the painting was in and recorded during the night in the span of 8 hours. It contains footage of the door closing on its own, a loud bang, sounds of scraping can be heard, and a mysterious ghostly figure running past the camera. To this day, Robinson refuses to destroy the painting and keeps it in his basement to avoid any more harm to his family. He is currently planning on bringing his story to the big screen, as Labria Pictures have acquired the rights to make a film about the Anguished Man, with Ty Ricks directing. In at number 4, we have medical photography, Duchenne de Boulogne. Duchenne de Boulogne was a French neurologist who pioneered research into the electrical simulation of muscles and the use of medical photography in his experiments. He used his photography to accurately illustrate his findings. Neurology didn't exist in France before Duchenne and was the first clinician to practice muscle biopsy. In 1855, he formalized the diagnostic principles of electrophysical and introduced electrotherapy, and this was also illustrated by his photographs. This was the first study on the physiology of emotion and was highly influential in Darwin's work on human evolution and emotional expression. Duchenne wanted to determine how the muscles in the human face produce facial expressions, which he believed to be directly linked to the soul of man. He is known in particular for the way he triggered muscular contractions with electrical probes, recording the resulting distorted and often grotesque expressions of his patients with the recently invented camera. Duchenne was skeptical of the face's ability to express moral character. Rather, he was convinced that it was through a reading of the expressions alone, known as pathognomy, which could reveal an accurate rendering of the soul's emotions. He believed that he could observe and capture an idealized naturalism in a similar way to that observed in Greek art. It is these notions that he sought conclusively and scientifically to chart by his experiments and photography, and it led to the publishing of The Mechanism of Human Physiognomy in 1862. Many shy away from looking at these photos because many patients exposed to this experiment looked to mean excruciating pain. Duchenne was a true pioneer and did some great things for the medical world, but many of his experiments were inhumane and didn't give his patients a choice. Many of his patients did have permanent damage due to his experiments, and the photographs that came from his experiments look like patients are undergoing some sort of torture. Coming in at number 3, Blanche Monnier. There are many stories throughout history of kidnapping, but this is one like none other, with photo evidence, and it was done by her own family. This is the story of Blanche Monnier. Blanche Monnier was a woman born in March 1849 in Poitiers, France. Monnier was a French socialite from a well-respected conservative family of old noble origins. She was renowned for her beauty and attracted many potential suitors for marriage. In 1874, at the age of 25, she had found someone she wanted to marry. He was an older lawyer, but not to her mother's Louise's liking. Louise started arguing with her daughter because she was not letting her marry a penniless lawyer. The mother was so angered by this that she locked Blanche in a tiny dark room in the attic of their home, where she was kept for the next 25 years. Louise Monnier and Blanche's brother Marcel continued on with their daily lives, pretending to mourn Blanche's disappearance. None of her friends knew where she was, and the lawyer who she wished to marry died unexpectedly in 1885. On the 23rd of May in 1901, the Paris Attorney General received an anonymous letter that revealed the crime, but the author of this letter is still unknown to this day. Monnier was rescued by police from appalling conditions covered in old food and feces, with bugs all around the bed and floor weighing around 50 pounds. Her mother was arrested, became ill shortly afterward, and died 15 days later after seeing an angry mob gather in the front of her house. Her brother Marcel appeared in court and was initially convicted, but later was acquitted on appeal due to being mentally incapacitated. The French police were the ones to take these terrifying photos of Blanche for evidence and building a case against her family, but these photos had somehow got leaked and the police officers involved got fired due to this. These photos are truly a horrifying look into a historical crime that the French government tried very hard to cover up. In at number 2 we have Bohemian Grove. Bohemian Grove is one of the biggest government secrets to date. It was founded in 1872 and was described as an elite invitation-only social club. It is a large campsite located on Bohemian Avenue in Monte Rio, California that anyone can visit at any time except for 2 weeks in mid-July when the world's biggest leaders come together for who knows what. The Bohemian Club's all-male membership includes artists and musicians, as well as many prominent business leaders, government officials, former US presidents, senior media executives, and people of power. Many hundreds of men attend, and some include presidents like Roosevelt, Nixon, Reagan, and Bush, along with Clint Eastwood and Mark Twain. A rule for members is weaving spiders come not here, meaning business deals are to be left outside, but who knows if that really is true. The exception to this rule was in 1942 when a planning for the Manhattan Project took place at the Grove, leading to the creation of the atom bomb. This club is so secretive that little is truly known about this place and what really goes on here. In 2000, Alex Jones and his cameramen were among very few able to actually sneak into the campsite and filmed a Bohemian Grove ceremony. During the ceremony, members wear costumes and cremate a coffin in front of a 40-foot owl and surrounded by redwood trees. They had also captured images of said ceremony, even though video and photography are prohibited at the Grove, and these images are some of the most famous of this secret society. There are many different theories of what actually goes on here, everything from Illuminati meetings to satanic rituals, but we may never really have answers, but Alex Jones is one person that has brought a slight look into this secretive club. And finally, in at number 1 we have Secret Bunker. For over 30 years it was unknown of this secret bunker, which is located in West Virginia. The Green Brier is a resort that has hosted numerous congressional meetings, 27 presidents, and has been around since 1778. Underneath this beautiful resort sat a government secret so well kept that its existence was only known to a handful of people. In the 1950s and 60s, during the Cold War, there was a fear of a nuclear disaster. These fears led to a heightening interest in nuclear bunkers, underground safe spaces where important people could take refuge in case of a nuclear war. President Eisenhower decided to build the bunker, believing Green Brier to be the perfect location. It was far enough away from Washington, D.C. to not need to withstand a direct hit from an atomic bomb, but close enough that members of Congress could rush over in about 5 hours. The bunker was built between 1958 and 1962 under the name Project Greek Island, and was one of the government's best kept secrets until its location was revealed in 1992. The 153-room bunker would be able to house about 1,000 people, which is enough beds for the 535 members of Congress. However, it's not nearly enough room for all of them to be able to bring their loved ones. Each bed was assigned specifically to a person too, so there would be no room for extra people. A giant hole was dug next to the already in place Green Brier Luxury Hotel for the bunker, and it was 2 levels, had 4 entrances, and was about 112,000 square feet with 6 months worth of supplies. Given the number of clues people managed to sniff out and the fact that it was a Walmart-sized underground bunker located at a historic elite hotel, it was only a matter of time before someone put the pieces together. That someone turned out to be the Washington Times and the Washington Post in a 1992 tell-all article, along with photos revealing all of the bunker's secrets. The Washington Post article, written by Ted Gupp, was a long, in-depth look at the secret the government had been keeping for almost half a century. After the photos leaked and the article came out, the government shut down the bunker and it now serves as a museum and data storage facility. Well, there we have it. I will see you in the next video.